Jaguars.com coverage of the 2022 NFL Draft continues. The Jaguars have a pick in the 5th round. They move up a few spots to pick 154th overall running back Snoop Conner from Ole Miss. And welcome into our team coverage, JP Shadrick, Brian Sexton back from Las Vegas, Bucky Brooks, John Oehser. The Jaguars trade the 188th pick and the 198th pick to the Eagles to move up to 154 to get a goal line style running back, Bucky.
Yeah, no, physical running back. I think what stands out about Conner, he's 5'10", 5'11", 222 pounds. Last year in the National Football League, the guys that rush for over 1,000 yards all weigh 220 plus. And so what you want is to fill out your backfield with enough physicality and toughness to complement Travis Etienne. And then whenever James Robinson comes back, Howie comes back, it gives you the opportunity to run 2-3 backs out there. So the rotation is important. He'll feel that because he has a nose for the goal line.
Let's go just outside the draft room where Ashlyn Sullivan has a special guest. Ashlyn?
Thank you, JP. Here with Coach Parmalee, the Jaguars trading up to get Snoop Conner. You told me you guys had a really good combine visit with him. What can we know more about with this prospect?
This is a guy that loves football. He's a smart player. He loves to compete, and when you turn the tape on, he jumps out at you.
Love that. And you guys have been through 1 week of veteran voluntary minicamp. I always get these. There are a lot of minicamps going on here. With the injuries to running back and them coming back from major injuries, how much of that was a factor in, hey, we might need to get another running back here?
Well, it's always a factor when you have injuries, but our guys are doing a great job getting back on the field. There's no question that James will be back. Travis going to be well. But we just needed to add some more depth. The guys that we have they're doing a great job. So this is a great opportunity to add to a plethora of guys that we have.
And you said that Snoop Conner, he can do a lot. What do you mean by that? Is it special teams? What do you mean by just doing a lot?
He can do special teams. He's an inside zone runner, outside zone runner, catch the ball well. And again, when you turn the tape on, he's very competitive, very physical, competitive. He'll add to our group.
Coach Parmalee, you're seeing the Doug Peterson era here this draft week. He seems so excited. What are just your thoughts of this draft been watching?
It's been awesome. I mean, we have a vision. We've been sticking to it, been adding a lot of talent on both sides, also on special teams. So we continue to do those things, continue to work hard. We're going to be good.
Love to hear it, Coach. Thank you. Back to you, JP.
All right, Ashlyn, Bernie Parmalee, the Jaguars running backs coach. And, yes, so Snoop Conner joins Mekhi Sargent, James Robinson, Travis Etienne, Nathan Cottrell, and Rock Armstead in the running back room, Brian. And, yeah, the injury thing is interesting.
Yeah.
You know, what's going to happen with James Robinson? Is he going to be ready for training camp? Travis Etienne seems like he's in pretty good shape right now.
Well, you couldn't get out of this weekend, I didn't think, with two running backs who had the kind of injuries, right, the Liz Frank and the Achilles, that can end running backs' careers. So you can feel good about their progress rehabilitation-wise, but until you see them practice day in and day out, it's tough for you to know. I mean, this is a goal line guy, 13 touchdowns in the SEC last year, and we were watching some highlights just a moment ago. And Bucky, I mean, he's a power guy. He doesn't look like he's a wiggle guy. He's going to put his shoulder down and drive.
And what you want to do is, we think about filling out the backfield. You want to have different style runners in the rotation. Conner is more of a straight line, downhill, rugged runner, can break arm tackles. He has a nose for the goal line. We talked about the 13 touchdowns a season ago, 26 in his career. And so the physicality and toughness, and going back to Coach Peterson's history in Philadelphia, man, they rolled him through. That team that won the Super Bowl with LeGarrette Blount and Corey Clement and others kind of playing in various roles. You want to recreate that because you don't want to put it all on one back.
Right. Well, I'm excited because I loved his work with Dr. Dre in the 90s. So, it's not, okay. This to me has turned into a very meat and potatoes draft. In the last couple of rounds, you had to get the center. You had to get a running back at this point. I felt like you had to get another linebacker now that you look at it with last night. They're filling needs. To me, this was the right spot to get running back. You did not need to do it early in the draft. I don't think they needed a superstar at the running back position. This was the place to do it, and clearly they think this draft is running out of players that can make an impact, and they're showing that in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, that leads us to the next trade that Trent Baalke and the Jaguars brass made just a few minutes after the trade to move up to get Snoop Conner. They trade out of 157. They give the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 157, the fifth rounder, and the 235th pick, the 7th rounder this year, in exchange for a 4th rounder in 2023. So there you have it. Yeah, trading those picks to get out, John.
And to me, that's, you get out, you get into the 4th next year. If you honestly look at this draft, and Trent last Friday at the draft meeting sort of hinted at this, while people were saying it was a deep draft, he said a couple of things about not really at all positions did he feel the same way, and Bucky's heard the same thing. Getting out of a draft that you don't love to move up. Be honest with yourself. If you look at the board and say, hey, I don't love what's left, get a 4th rounder next year. He's known for that, Bucky, trading equity and making sure that he has picks in the right spots.
Yeah, the more picks that you have, it gives you an opportunity to really control the board. And so next year, really deep draft class coming in, it gets thinned out. We talk about 6th and 7th round. So what you want to do is punt on those picks, have extra picks next year, then reset, and you may have more opportunities to get more talented players.
What's interesting is they came into this draft with a dozen picks, and we talked about a dozen picks is too many.
Yeah.
And as of right now, it appears that they've got a 6th round and a 7th round remaining. They'll walk out of this with a normal draft class of 7 players.
Yeah, I mean,
We're good at math around here.
Right. Yeah, I think at some point, all those guys at the bottom of a draft class, if you had 12, I mean, you're not all going to make the team at some point. The way they've added players this offseason. So,
but as the former scout, you're okay with that kind of maneuvering, Bucky?
Yeah, I'm okay with that kind of maneuvering because at the end of the day, you want to build the best team. And I think the coach's job is to get a team ready for here and now. The general manager's job is to look 1, 2, 3 years ahead to see how it will fill out. And also, they are very aware of what is in the pipeline for next year. If you feel like next year's draft class is better from top to bottom than this year, you want to make sure you have enough ammunition to make plays.
That's what scouts are for, right? You're looking a year or two ahead.
I mean, that's
right?
it. We're here to kind of eat all the snacks and the donuts and all that other stuff, and then just kind of go about our business.
And I think we talked about this during the breaks in waiting for this pick. There are fans out there, I'm getting emails about it, who are panicking that they haven't addressed wide receiver. But, Bucky, I forget when you talked about it. At some point, if it's not there, there's not guys left who theoretically on paper, if once you scouted, will help this wide receiver core next year. Once you got out of, the second round, that ship had sort of sailed.
Once you get out of yesterday, day 2, the guys that you're bringing on now are developmental guys who would have to challenge the other guys for a roster spot. And so we rattled off the names: Marvin Jones, Zay Jones, Christian Kirk. They're getting uniforms every Sunday. You have Evan Ingram, you have Evan Ingram. You have LaVista Chenault. You have Jamal Agnew. Jamal Agnew's getting a uniform every week in the return game. So we're already at 5. How many are we going to keep? 6? And so it becomes a battle of trying to figure out who do we want, how do we want to fill it out. And we've talked about the passing game being one where you can win with Bs and B pluses on the perimeter. You don't necessarily need an A-level receiver because the system does a lot of the work.
So I guess the point is right now you're still getting guys who are going to be on the field. If you had taken receiver in the last couple of rounds, you're probably not getting that. So
if they make
for
the
people
team,
who think that they're not addressing what they need to do next year, I'm not sure if that's the right way to interpret it.
So what's left now for the Jaguars after all the trades over the last 15
minutes? Hopefully one more
minutes?
trade. You got 2 left. There's a draft in 2025. Go get it.
Traded John.
Thank you, John. So the Jaguars have a 6th-round pick, 197th overall remaining, and a 222nd overall pick. That's in the 7th round. That's all that's left in the 2022 NFL Draft at this moment for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll see if John Oehser gets his way before we get to that 6th round. We'll be back with you if the Jags make the pick in that 6th round with more. The Jaguars do have a selection in the 5th round. They trade up to get running back Snoop Connor from Ole Miss. And our Jaguars.com draft coverage is presented by Dreamfinders Homes.